What's in here is reflected outwards. If you think nice and sweet thoughts, if you believe them, you're going to feel them. Based on how you feel, the words you speak change, the actions you demonstrate change in every single area of life. Where's the near goal in the very near future? It's letting people remember heart resonance and soul awareness. And the only way, again, to invest in that is to have a mirror that we recognize on a heart and soul level. And that mirror needs to have a heart and soul. You want to have your mind as an ally.
In today's episode, you are going to hear from Jun, the founder of the Academy for the Soul, speak about ancient practices like breathwork, bodywork, and ecstatic dance so that you can plug back into source, instantly and quickly create resonance in your system, and rewire your mind to support your goals rather than sabotage them. Let's begin. Welcome to Resonance, the podcast for high performers and entrepreneurs who want to do life, work, and success differently. I am your host, Viktoria Levenberg, and I'm obsessed with efficiency, productivity, and planning in a way that harnesses your energy and your natural rhythms while keeping you in alignment and integrity. Because I have figured out that lasting success is not about the hustle. It is about being in resonance. Let's begin. In this episode, my guest Jun and I dive into a whole toolkit of nervous system regulation formulas, mind reset tools, and so much more that you get to use to create quick and efficient results in your life so that you can get back to doing the things you love and making your biggest goals a reality. Now, Jun is a dear friend of mine. He and I did the emotional intelligence coach teacher training like many, many years ago. In fact, we facilitated a few transformative sessions on one another. And then later on, he went on to create his own business and the Sacred Breath formula, which you'll get to learn about. And I was actually one of the very first members to be facilitated through that program and become a certified Sacred Breathwork facilitator, which is so special. Not many people know this about me because it's one of those tools that I keep in my tool belt for my super special VIP clients. And, it is just so cool being able to bring him onto the show because he is someone that, yes, is on the spiritual path, is a very conscious, heart-centered human, and yet also really grounded in the 3D reality and so strong and solid in his boundaries and his values and his identity. And I truly respect that. And I think that is why, we are on that same wavelength and he gets to be on this podcast here with you today. So look, I think what sets Jun apart from a lot of people in the yogic community is that he is very aware that most people, especially the listeners of Resonance, are not choosing the path of being a Buddhist monk. No, because otherwise you'd already be there. And that's wonderful for some people. But here we are in this, 2026 modern day reality. And so he shares some really specific tools, ways, practices, both ones that he teaches and some that he implements for himself that can really quickly return you back to resonance, to alignment, to coherence, to calm, to clarity, to being a supporter of your own dreams and your own mind quickly and efficiently. So without further ado, let's begin. Enjoy the episode. Welcome, Jun. Thank you so much for coming to Resonance.
Thank you for being in resonance.
Yes. Well, wouldn't the world be a very different place if we all operated from a space of resonance together?
It definitely would.
And
so much more joy and grace on earth.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing here, I think, just by embodying it for ourselves, and I'm so grateful to have the privilege to bring you into this space as well. And, I genuinely believe that the body of work that you share and your journey is so powerful. So I would love to, give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, a little bit of your story.
Happy to, yeah. So as you mentioned, my name is Jun. And my story, and let's start from the spiritual point of view of it all. The story of my soul is that it comes to earth to, number one, bring resonance, number two, invoke more joy, and then eventually ease into peace. And I come to believe that every soul that comes to Earth, for how many times it comes to Earth, and my soul came to Earth, I don't know how many times, one can just guess. Some people say they know, some people say they don't know. I'm just going to leave that open to God's knowing.
Yeah.
But what I definitely came to conclude is that every action that I take, or everything that's being created through me, and you mentioned body work, you mentioned energy work. I'll share a little more about that in a moment. But everything that comes through is in service of refinement.
Ooh,
In
yeah.
service of refinement, and in service of letting hearts blossom and letting souls be remembered, so that we come to an understanding of our multi-layered self and not just our human sense of self. Yeah. And so my personal journey, I grew up in Switzerland. My mom's Dutch, my dad is Swiss, and I'm currently in Bali, which is where I lived for the last 7 years. And in Bali, you have this fun term for a dish that's ordered here a lot. It's called nasi campur, which means mixed rice, right?
Yeah.
Every time I explain what I am to people, because they ask here, where do you come from? I say I'm a orang campur, which means a mixed human.
Oh, that is so cool.
Orang
Can you
campur.
say that again? Horang campur?
Orang. So
Orang.
like from the orang-utan in Indonesian, orang means human.
Uh-huh.
And campur is mixed.
Campur. Okay, orang campur. I love that so much, only because I also identify as that. So I'm gonna add that to my dictionary. Orang campur.
You're a Vicky campur.
That's it.
Yeah. And so after a while of growing up in Switzerland, learning what I learned, which is graphic design. I studied graphic design in the past, and studied marketing and worked very shortly in that field, but there was a very quick realization of dysresonance in my work in that field, which, for those of you that do graphic design out there, you know that you sit on a laptop a lot, you're on the screen a lot, you're executing a lot of dreams for other people, and some of them you might be in resonance with. I know I made your logo, the Live in Health logo.
Yes, you
which
did.
I was in full resonance with. But very often you end up, or I ended up, working for people that I wasn't in resonance with. Fun example here. We had an illustration job at the atelier, the small office that I worked at, and it was for a restaurant that was specifically known for serving deer meat.
Yeah.
And I'm vegan, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where you're like, make illustrations for our menu card, and I'm like, oh wow, my heart is bleeding. I'm not going to do that. So I quit that job and all those jobs pretty quickly, and I relocated to Bali with the longing of, I got to figure my heart out, and I got to heal some inner layers. And so that happened over the last 7 years, and through that internal process of rooting into the soul and rooting into the heart, eventually new formats of healing were born through my curiosity, my playfulness, and my presence on earth. And one of them is being sacred bodywork, which is a beautiful hands-on modality to release tension, emotional and physical, in the body.
Yeah.
Another modality that was born was sacred breathwork. Beautiful refinement of modern day breathwork through the revival of yogic wisdom. So we're bringing the old deep wisdom of yoga back into the modern breathwork practices and making it very ceremonial and very just heartfelt, very graceful and very heartfelt.
Yes.
You're a facilitator in it. So you know.
Well, I know, but my listeners don't. So we'll definitely dive into a lot of that, but it's just a lot of resonance is coming through as you're sharing this. So yes.
Yeah, and there's a couple more formats that I'm sure we'll touch base on. Third one is Ecstatic Angel Dance. Really, really fun way of weaving mantra and sacred song with sober dance parties. Barefoot sober dance parties. Yeah.
Oh, fun. That's my kind of dance party. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah. So That's a little bit about me. Today, I sit
Mm.
here as the founder of a platform called the Academy for the Soul,
Mm-hmm.
which is again devoted to letting hearts blossom, letting souls remember themselves, and whenever they did, coming into a place of not just serving their own well-being, but
Mm-hmm.
spreading, right? Creating
Mm.
more resonance in their community and the people around them. So we have a lot
Mm.
of people coming in that start with their own healing journey.
Yeah.
And then eventually they realize, just like I did, oh, I can't continue the work that I'm doing. Somehow it's no longer in resonance. I gotta like bring more healing. How do I
Yeah.
do that? Well, then we have the facilitator trainings where we teach them how to facilitate group and one-on-one sessions and make either a side hustle income or eventually, be supported by
Mm.
being a coach, healer, facilitator in breathwork and
Yeah.
angel dance.
Yeah. And I think that's so potent, as you say, is sort of, our journey often begins with our own healing, as it did for yourself, is sort of that, the hero's journey, as I'm sure probably in marketing, you are also taught around the storytelling, right? And so you head off on the adventure and then you're facing the challenges and you find your teacher, find your way shower who helps you overcome the challenges. And then what most people don't realize is that second half of the hero's journey is the returning, the coming home, and spreading that ripple effect, spreading that love, that heartfelt connection, the return to the soul with others, so that you then get to be the hero in their story, which is so special. And I'm really excited about this new chapter for you as well. It's new and not new, it's sort of, I know that the Academy for the Soul is sort of in its birthing stage, which is such a special, potent space to be. And before we dive into these modalities and all the wisdom you've got to share, I also have a question I love to ask my guests. And that is what's one thing that doesn't show up on your official bio? So we wouldn't know unless we listened to this podcast.
Oh, I love that one. And there's one that pops up immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll share that with you. Good question. One thing that catches most people off guard and they don't know about me, that there was a short chapter in my life where I was active on a platform called OnlyFans.
Yeah. I remember.
You did that. Yeah, yeah. That was a short chapter of my soul wanting to experience something completely different again. And the souls are here to experience
Yeah.
themselves in many ways. So that's one thing that I usually don't put in my bio, but I love to share that because it gives so much smiles and raises so many questions.
It does. And you know what? I love that you're just so playful and so fun and so joyful about it, and I still remember the very first time I heard about it, when we were chatting, and it was just like the pure, innocent joy and love and intent that this chapter of your life was. It was like so cool. It was like OnlyFans for spiritual seekers, pretty much. So yeah, that's quite fun.
That was the idea. That was the intention and the challenge, because most people on OnlyFans weren't spiritually seeking yet.
Until they
That's why
met
it
you.
didn't work out.
Yes, exactly. Well, I genuinely believe that everything we do in life has a purpose, and whatever it is, there's some kind of lesson, there's something in there for us. And that's so cool. And thank you for sharing that. I think that, alongside myself, many of our listeners will be like giggling and also having a lot of questions DMing you about it. I love that.
Open book.
That's it. And I mean, speaking of open book, tell me a little bit more. Let's start with sacred breath, because, that's sort of something that I'm really familiar with, having completed your breathwork facilitator program. And interestingly, where I am in my journey is I cherish these tools. They are so sacred, and having received the certification, obviously I got to practice it on people, and I see how deep it goes into the soul. And to me, and the purpose that I am here to fulfill on this earth, I'm like, I wish to reserve this intimate experience for really small, intimate containers where I have agency over more than just the fleeting 60-minute, 90-minute breathwork class that we've unfortunately been so commercialized into. And I know that all of these have a place and a space to be. So, I would love to hear from you, first of all, like, what makes sacred breathwork different? Someone who's never heard of breathwork before, like they might just be like, so you just tell me to breathe? Like, just explain it to us, because my listeners are also just normal, everyday people who may have never tried breathwork before.
Yeah, let me put it in words to the best of my capacity. And you're not wrong with what you just said so playfully. We're telling people to breathe. I mean, that's a part of the whole thing. But what makes breathwork such a special experience, and why globally it's coming up more again, or I love to say it's being remembered more again. We're coming into an era of remembrance.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the ancient scriptures from the Vedas and yogic wisdom, deep wisdom coming there. I'll summarize it. But we speak of different time ages, and currently those books, they speak of coming into the age of remembrance towards enlightenment, right?
Yeah.
And so as we're walking through our life, as we're dancing, as we're breathing through our life, what makes breathwork intriguing and very interesting for people is because it helps them not only speak to the voices in the mind and kind of nourish that landscape so that that becomes a little more peaceful and calm, but working with the breath, and there's many ways to do that. I'll share a little bit about the sacred breathwork formula in a moment. Working with the breath, it helps you process emotional stagnancy, emotional storage, right? So if there is anger that's kind of cooking within and you don't really know what to do it, working with the breath is a gateway or a language that speaks to anger and helps it leave you more efficiently than meditation sometimes, right? And at the same time, breathwork helps the physical body recalibrate. So when we go into a breath journey, we change our breath rhythm. We change our breath pattern from just the default breathing that we're doing. We bring more awareness to maybe deeper breaths, maybe faster breaths, maybe slower breaths. And all of those have an effect on the physical body. So the funnest way I love to explain it in short is, it's deep science, but we're going to simplify it. Let's say there is oxygen and there is carbon. And let's say the oxygen is like the traffic and all the little vehicles that drive valuables over the roads. And then the carbon is like the roads and the pavement, the grip on the roads, right? And so when we are in an imbalance and we feel physically stagnant, we feel apathetic, we feel numb, or just our body feels stiff, there is maybe too many roads and too little energy, too little cars driving valuables, right? Too much carbon, too little oxygen. We become numb, apathetic, slow, and physically don't feel empowered in our body. Or it's the opposite. We have ADHD, we breathe fast and shallow. We have too much oxygen and too little roads in our body to actually hold that energy.
Anxiety be a big
Anxiety, overthinking,
stress, overwhelm. This is all like you're speaking to my people here. Yeah.
We know that all too well. And we also have figured out, I bet your people have too, everyone listening here, that many of the things we try, that we learn, let's say, from a guru about meditation, sit down, be still for an hour, it's not going to work. Your mind is not going to surrender. Right?
Yeah.
And so working with the breath, it's a very efficient way to balance out the carbon and oxygen. So if there's too much energy and too little pavement, you're going to create a little bit more pavement, a little more roads through breathwork, so your body energy can find a home within you, and it's not over buzzing. Or the opposite, it's going to give you the energy you need to get things done and to stay on track with your tasks, with your plans, with your visions, with your path in life, your destiny, let's say, right? So that about breath work. Now, there's many different styles of breath work being established. Sacred breathwork, our formula, was born because many of these styles are creating even more stimulation There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of breath work where we learn to breathe in and out the mouth, and we learn to
Yeah.
breathe in and out rapidly and repetitively over a very long period
Yeah.
of
Which, like, I just want to add, and I don't know if you're going to go there, but like, to, again, I'm speaking to like my high performers and entrepreneurs who are running on overdrive to a nervous system that's already dysregulated. That is not what you want to be doing. That is just adding gasoline to the fire.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well put.
Which
Right.
is what really drove me to your specific practice. So carry on.
Thank you. Yeah. I also have to say, this is what drove me to create this formula,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I was investigating breathwork as a tool to navigate my emotional overwhelm and my stress feelings, and the overthinking and the anxiety. And I did have some good experiences with other breathwork techniques, other ones than sacred breathwork, but most of the time it was just like going for another little spike and another little high and another little adrenaline kick, and
Mm-hmm.
then coming back into the same overthinking, over anxious mindset. It didn't create a change, it didn't create a
Mm-hmm.
lasting pivot. And then sacred breathwork was born out of my devotion to yoga
Mm.
and my deep, deep love for the roots of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say here, when we look on Instagram and we look at yoga, you see 5% of what yoga is.
Yeah.
Probably
Zero
even
point zero 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 0.0005.
you see nice bodies in tight clothes doing crazy things, and it becomes completely inaccessible.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say, when I speak of my love and devotion for yoga, yoga as a word translates literally to union.
Mm-hmm.
Yoga means union. And so the core purpose of yoga is to come into union with your inner beloved, with your soul, with whatever beats your heart and breathes your breath when you don't consciously do it, right?
Yeah.
Like the ultimate caretaker, the ultimate
Yeah.
beloved that lives
Yeah.
within all of us. That's what yoga is meant to do and what it's designed for, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So out of that inspiration and out of my journey with yoga, eventually breath work was influenced, and I started adapting the formulas that I was trained in before sacred breathwork was born, and I just refined them. I
Mm-hmm.
refined them into a place where the breath doesn't create more overwhelm, but it
Yeah.
also takes you out of apathy and numbness if you're there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it basically it treats the breath like your ultimate guide,
Mm.
and the formula helps you trust into the wisdom of your breath.
Yeah.
So the experiences people have they're either very emotional, sometimes they're very mental. They're like, I'm curious to hear from you as well if you want to share a
Yeah.
bit about the emotional effects of sacred breath work.
I think it's as you say that the experience can vary so much. I think not just from individual to individual, but from day to day, practice to practice, because we are such multifaceted beings, and I genuinely believe that, you know, what you receive on the day is what you are meant to receive. And so, having, of course, experienced a handful of journeys, you know, there have been big emotional releases, there have been absolute just ecstasy and bliss and love and connection. You know, it's like personal favorite. There have been other ones that are just like really relaxing. You're like, okay, cool, like this is just pretty chill today. And so I think it is so special. And being someone, you know, again, who tends to as a Vata dosha type, tends to need a lot of grounding and stability and nurturing. The softer, safer, I want to use the word safer approach of sacred breathwork really, really resonated with me. So like, out of everything I've tried out there, from big name brands to, you know, sort of like all the popular stuff, I genuinely believe that what you've got here is so special. And I am so privileged to have been one of the first certified facilitators, and now to have you share your story and, you know, help bring you to more people. It's yeah, it's just really, really special.
It is. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Mm.
And,
Mm.
it's my personal favorite too, to have these like oceans of love open up through your breath, that deep, deep bliss, that deep
Hmm.
inner bliss. And most of the times in my experience for my own practice, but then also witnessing these, it's been thousands by now that tried this
Hmm.
formula. It's insane. The first time we did it, it was like a couple of dozen, and now it's been thousands that walked in and out these classes. Yeah.
So cool.
It's really special. And just looking at all their experiences, it's always been very blissful and very neutralizing for the mind, just really stilling the mind into a
Hmm.
peaceful state, and then feeling a sort of love for self and for anything and everything, really, that
Hmm.
for many people is new or forgotten.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's new or forgotten.
Yes.
Right?
And so I would love to ask you, say someone like listening who's never tried breath work before, and then they're hearing it and they're like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. Like, yeah, I'm feeling anxious and stressed and overwhelmed. It's like, what do I get from it? Because a lot of people, there's always this sort of like, I don't want to say resistance, but maybe a little bit of doubt behind these, I don't want to say newer, but more unconventional practices that you won't see, on an average gym schedule, unless you live in Bali. So I just really want to like anchor it into the 3D as to like the tangible benefits of practicing breath work, and when it's really great to do it, what it could help someone with. Could you share a little bit around that as well?
Of course. Of course. The first thing and the most tangible thing that many have experienced is, let's say your mind is a radio,
Mm-hmm.
right? And each one listening or watching this right now, you can identify for yourself, how many channels are you listening to? How many at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm. And what quality of channels?
And what quality? Is it you're a fool, you're an idiot? Or is it actually very sweet and very loving, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like you're amazing and you're
Like you're
doing so
amazing.
well, and I
Yeah,
love you and you're
yeah.
perfect and everything you're doing is incredible. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so all these voices of that radio, they go on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we find a way to actually access these buttons and turn up volume and turn down volume. And so what Sacred Breathwork does, it's like you're putting your fingers on these buttons.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually starting to attune the voices of your mind. And so when we make a practical example, let's say you go throughout a day of work and
Mm-hmm.
it's very busy. There's like 20 things that need to be done. At the same time, your cat is at the vet or your dog's sick. And it's just life is really throwing the challenges at you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you go through that day with a mind that produces continuous voices of judgment, of fear, of anger. Your
Yeah.
whole body is going to feel terrible.
Mm.
You are not going to be able to perform, show up with presence, with clarity.
Mm.
Maybe your leadership decisions are going to be completely off, right?
Yep.
You lose
Yep.
money because you make a decision that's affecting the whole team very negatively.
Yep.
So, in other words, and this is a bit more the yogic perspective,
Mm.
what's in here is reflected outwards,
Mm. Yeah.
right? So, your inner world affects and reflects the outer world, and the
Mm-hmm.
outer world reflects and affects the inner world.
That's
So, what
it.
sacred breathwork does, it gives you this fine tuning and attunement of your inner world, your mental
Mm-hmm.
landscape, which of course corresponds with your emotions directly. If you think nice and sweet thoughts, if you believe them, you're going to feel them.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. The word mindfulness has ever felt vague, overwhelming, or just like a little woo-woo, a little out of reach, I have created something just for you. It is Live in Presence 8 Days of Mindfulness. Is my free online course that gently walks you through everything I wish I had known when I first heard the word mindfulness, without like the funky jargon or getting super complicated as the yogis tend to do, okay? Over 8 days, you will receive short, grounded lessons and simple practices that you can literally weave into your life starting today, even if you're busy, tired, or feeling totally out of sync. It is the perfect solution to regulating your nervous system when you don't know where to start. The link is in the show notes below. You can sign up for free at victorialevenberg.com/live-in-presence or through the link in my bio at Viktoria Levenberg. Because presence isn't something that you need to earn. It is something that you get to return to. So speaking of returning, let's get back to the episode.
You're going to feel them. Based on how you feel, the words you speak change, the actions you demonstrate change in every single area of life. So back to the example, you're going through a day where everything is challenging, extremely challenging. You don't want to have your mind be challenging you as well. You want to have your mind as an ally.
That's it. Yeah. You want to be on your own team.
You want to be on your own team. And you want to actually have access to choosing a team that's cheering for you and supporting you and holding you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what Sacred Breathwork does. It gives you this awareness, this plug-in, and this attunement, being your own friend throughout it all. Gives you that attunement to being your own ally through it all.
Yeah. And I love that you say that, because I was literally on a coaching call this morning where one of our coaches said, your mind is actually the only thing you really have agency over. Anything else out there, it is so far beyond your influence. But this little thinking machine, as you say, you get to choose. And unfortunately, most people are so stuck in their default mode. And the default mode, as we know, and we learned, from James and the works of David Hawkins, is stuck in survival mode. And so I would say, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts if you agree with this, I would say like step one is get yourself into resonance, get out of survival mode so that your nervous system is in a state of, resonance. Effectively, it is in the parasympathetic nervous system state. And then you also get to start to fine tune and use these tools to consciously choose your response next time. And I believe that Sacred Breathwork does both, right? It gets you into that space of parasympathetic activation, and then it moves you through the journey to help be the conductor of your own inner orchestra.
Yes. Beautifully put. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm so curious to hear, you said something earlier that really kind of struck a chord for me, and I wanted to circle back to, which is this reality that so many of us live in, right? The daily overwhelm, the constant hustle. Because the thing is, like, no matter where we are, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are in a corporate job, whether you're, a stay-at-home parent, you are faced with life's demands. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of pressure. There's people, tapping you on the shoulder. And then you've got the unexpected things of, whether it's, like you said, use the example of pets, passing, etc., which I know you personally had a lot of experience with yourself. I personally had a lot of experience with like family members in hospital. There's a lot going on in life, full stop. It's a given. So for you personally, what are some of your go-to tools, practices, methodologies to come back to center when life just feels like a lot?
First of all, I want to say thank you for pointing out that there is many, right? It's not one tool, it's tools. And to answer on a personal note, throughout my life, there's been a constant evolution of these different flavors.
Mm-hmm.
self-care, self-love, and attunement to come into resonance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so where I'm at today, after almost a decade of really figuring out the efficiency for me, the placement of the practice, right? I don't want to, and I
Yes.
cannot spend 4 to 5 hours a day on like, because you say it, life demands things are happening, conversations need to be had.
You're not a
No,
Brahmin, you know, like
no,
you're June in 2026 who's an entrepreneur, you know, on a spiritual path, yes, and also like
yes,
living in this 3D reality where we got bills to pay, y'all.
yes. Yes, exactly. So I don't have that. We all don't have 5 hours a day unless we choose the path of a Buddha. We
Mm-hmm.
remove ourselves completely from society and we go seek enlightenment through the deep stillness of meditating by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Also okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also okay. For many of us right now, not the path. So what works very efficiently for me and has for a long time is, of course, having a toolkit of different practices
Mm-hmm.
and also practicing this radical honesty, which is developed over time by just asking yourself, what do I really need right now? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do I really need? Like, do I need some movement? Do I need just some stillness? Do I need to breathe? Do I need a breath journey? Or do I need to just go in nature and run around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can work and it works often. But what do we do when we don't know what we need?
You tell me.
Which I mean, given circumstances in life,
Mm-hmm.
very often we don't even have the awareness and capacity to figure out what do I need right now. And so this is where I have always turned to the root of basically everything I believe in, which is union yoga.
Ah, yes.
Right? So I have
Yeah.
turned back to the teachings of yoga and investigated more. There's so many flavors of yoga. There's so many translations of yoga. But my
Mm-hmm.
question was always like, let's go deeper to the origin. Let's go
Mm-hmm.
deeper to like the source of those teachings and see where I find efficiency and quick creation of resonance. What
I love
formula,
this.
right? What formula does need to be found? And where I am at today, what works really well for me and also for my students, of
Mm.
course, is sacred breathwork,
Mm-hmm.
ecstatic angel dance, because
Mm-hmm.
again, it brings in some of the most essential components from yoga, which is music as prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And with music as prayer, that can be in English, it can be in a native tongue, or it can
Mm.
be in Sanskrit, which are the old tongues spoken by ancient yogis and saints, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
most common way to work with Sanskrit is by singing and chanting mantras,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
And there's different religious streams that have adopted mantras. Some have refined them, some have kept them like that. To me, mantra is not attached or boxed into a religion. It's
Mm.
actually one of the most precious gifts that any religion that uses them can give you,
Yeah,
right?
it's just a sound. It's a
It's
primordial sound is really all it is.
it is
Mm.
exactly, and the
Mm.
word mantra, it translates to man or mana and tra, and mana means mind,
Mm-hmm.
consciousness, mind, and tra
Beautiful.
is protection and purification.
Mm. Interesting the way I was taught, and again, there's different lineages of teachings as well, right? Which is similar, and I see a world where they two intertwine. It was mind vehicle, which is quite interesting. But again, different lineages, different, you know, translations. To be honest, and to someone listening who like has never heard of Sanskrit before, like,
Yeah,
hey, team, we've got like one word with about 1,000 definitions. So it's
yes.
very normal that this occurs.
It's like, and also I'll return to the practice in a second.
Hmm.
Didn't lose track of that, but also to
Yeah.
just bask in mantra again. If
Hmm.
you have a spice mixture in your kitchen
Hmm.
that has, let's say, 20 flavors in it, and combined, they are so good. The
Mm-hmm.
best you've ever tasted. You put them on any meal and they make the meal 100 times better, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a distilled combination of meaning.
Mm.
And that's what a mantra also is. It's a distilled combination of meaning in one word or one sound or just a couple of
Mm-hmm.
words
That's it.
repeated, right?
Mm.
So it purifies the mind, it helps the mind have direction, and it also protects your mind from
Mm.
all the crap that's happening outside in the world these days,
Yeah,
right?
well, you mean that radio that we were talking about earlier?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So when we teach people ecstatic angel dance, it's really fun and free flowy and movement oriented. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you're keeping your breath awareness, so you're not losing track of your breath. And the music we choose is dance music mixed with mantra and these sacred sounds. So as you dance into a free flow for 10 minutes,
Mm.
20 minutes, 2 hours if you have the time one day, amazing, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's an efficient practice too.
Mm.
But outside of those, what I turn to every single day, and there hasn't been an exception since a little over 2 years right now. Before that,
Mm-hmm.
it was Ashtanga yoga. These days, I practice Kundalini yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And what Kundalini yoga comes down to is a combination of breath work, breath awareness,
Mm-hmm.
movement,
Mm.
and a form of repetitive movement over a longer period of time. So your mind is faced with a challenge. And if you check
Mm.
mark a good challenge at the beginning of the day, everything else is going to be easy.
That's it. Pick your
Right?
battles. Pick your
Yeah, pick
challenges.
your battles.
Uh-huh.
To give an example, one of the exercises, one of the, let's call it the more extreme ones, is it's for abundance and prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a specific mantra that plays in the background for 31 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring your hands, your Jupiter finish,
Mm-hmm.
interlock in front of your heart, your elbows go up to shoulder
Mm-hmm.
level, and you breathe rhythmically in through the mouth and out the nose. And you keep this for 26 minutes, and then you bring your arms up for
Mm-hmm.
6 minutes, and then you bring them down for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that stuff up for 26 minutes, right? Like
Holy.
eventually it's gonna
So,
challenge your
so,
mind
so for
so
people who aren't watching, I'll also just describe what we're doing right now. So June has got his index fingers interlocked, elbows out at about chest level. I've been doing this for maybe 10 seconds and I feel my biceps already. Like, ow. Wow.
yeah. So these are some of the practices. There's simpler ones, of course. It's not
Mm-hmm.
all that extreme. This is more of an extreme example, but yeah, that's the practice I turn to. And the end of the practice, of course, is a beautiful shavasana, which is also known
Mm-hmm.
as corpse pose. You get to
Mm-hmm.
melt into laying down and taking almost a nap for 5 to 15 minutes, just,
Yeah.
letting all the frequency you create through breath and movement, all that energy find home in
Mm.
your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then what makes Kundalini yoga personally for me stand out as well is after that, you go into a devotional prayer where you sing along with mantras.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes these mantras are in the purity of their own words, and sometimes they come with English translations that
Mm.
the artists, mixed into the music. So you kind of know what it means when you sing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an ultimate purifier for the body, for the mind, for the
Mm.
emotions. And it comes into having a relationship to the beloved within, to the soul,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And so this is called sadhana, the
Mm-hmm.
practice of sadhana, which means
Mm.
your devotional, spiritual practice. And ideally,
Mm.
a sadhana has components that take care of your physical body, that take care of your mind, that take care of your emotions, and that reconnect you with the source within, the light that moves you through life, no matter what.
That's it. That's it. And I love that you brought it back to sadhana because, one of the key things that as yogis we get taught after our very first yoga teacher training is cultivate a daily sadhana, whatever that looks like, whatever is doable. And, you say it's a spiritual practice, and I genuinely believe that spirituality can mean a million different things for a million different people. So like, sadhana doesn't have to be meditative. Like it can be anything you want it to be, as long as you say it kind of ticks those boxes of physical sheath, mental sheath, emotional sheath, and energy sheath. And I stand by the fact that having this daily ritual is what sets us up for resilience and success when life gets really tricky. Because it is an element of consistency and you building up tolerance and spaciousness and resonance in your nervous system, so that when those inevitable stressors come your way, you are already armed with love and grace. And of course, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's easier than if you're already drained and depleted and running on empty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that.
Could not have said it any better. Thank you.
I'm sure you could have, but no, thank you for sharing that, because I was really curious to kind of hear, what you do in your own practice as well. And because I believe, there's obviously the things we teach and we do those, and also we're such unique, multifaceted beings. And the fact that you said yourself, even like my first protocol, I think you used the words of like, what do I really need right now? And what is the most efficient tool or formula that I have in my toolkit that is going to deliver me what I need right now? And I love that you're using like the words efficiency and like the quickest way for me to come back into resonance, because like, again, we're in this 3D reality. So we want results fast. And that doesn't mean that we can't luxuriate and enjoy a 2-hour ecstatic angel dance. Of course you can. And also, it means that if you only have 3 minutes in between meetings, it's also pretty cool to just go hide in the bathroom and do your sadhana there. As someone who has done that in a corporate office.
Same.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
I have another question for you. And that is, and you can choose your adventure here. So you can choose to, answer it from the lens of like breath work and body work and angel dance, or just in general, spirituality, healing, etc. But like, what is one myth in your field, in your area of expertise that you wish that people would just unlearn? If you could shout it from the rooftops and be like, okay, team, what you're seeing out there on the socials and the algorithms and the AI is, this is the truth. What would that be?
This really hits a timely nerve, actually, at this very moment that we speak. And I think this is going to be a topic for the next decade to couple of decades. And I'm not sure if it's a myth, but I can see and feel how in the consciousness of people, when you speak of, social media, the internet, people being fed all these reflections of what people are doing and how they're making money, the money topic, how to make money, right? How to make money.
Yes, let's go. We're getting in the meat.
We're getting in the meat. So this is going to hit a nerve for many, and we all dance this dance. We know this experience, especially for those of you listening that are either working in any field of healing or are transitioning because you have something knocking on your mental doors that says, I can't continue doing what I'm doing. I'm not in resonance. It's draining me. I'm not loving any of it. It's going to be interesting for those of you, but it's also going to be interesting for those of you that in the near future will have that voice come in, because it is going to come in. So here's the
I'm
bomb.
so ready. I'm so ready. I'm like, the vegan is laying down the meat. I am buckled up, Buttercup.
Here's the plate. Healing work has been very challenging to sell online. There are so many ways people try to do it online, right? You see so many creative reels, posts, stories, etc., etc. That's going to change very soon. It already is. AI is generating a lot of content these days for many people. There is a layer of illusion that's being created on the internet. I had a time where I left social media because that was just coming up. And to put it very practical, many of the things we see these days, we can still just see that it's AI generated. There's a little bit of animation that we can like pick up on. In a very short amount of time from now, that will not be possible anymore. It will look real. It will look authentic. It will look like that person is sitting there and talking
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
experiencing this or hiking that mountain, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So not just there, but in many, many, many other fields, AI is assisting us taking over work. It's taking
Mm-hmm.
over a lot of the things that we as humans do.
Mm.
And there's this dance happening right now, and this goes into the myth question, right? There's this dance
Yeah.
happening right now of people feeling like they need to learn AI and to
Mm-hmm.
leverage off AI and to co-create with AI and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of harvest from AI, which is okay as it is.
Mm.
But where's the real gold in the very near future? Where's the
Yeah.
near gold in the very near future? It's letting people remember heart resonance,
Mm-hmm.
soul awareness.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. Yeah.
And this comes into the discernment part of our
Yeah.
consciousness. Are we going to be able to discern truth from falsehood?
Mm. Yes.
10 years ago, we were
Yes.
struggling. Donald Trump brought up whole things with fake news. Not only him, many did, right? And then there was
Mm-hmm.
like, what's fake, what's real? Now
Mm-hmm.
we're looking at content that looks real, sounds real, and
Mm-hmm.
almost feels real. So
Mm-hmm.
where's the real goal? We have
Mm-hmm.
to train our heart to be able to listen,
Yeah.
our
That's it.
soul to be
Mm.
able to navigate our vehicle. And the only way to do that is through the assistance of another soul.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
the myth out there to focus on making more money by automating AI, and I'm going to be bold in this
Go for it.
prognosis, it's
Yeah.
not sustainable. Don't buy into it. It's not
Yeah.
going to nourish you. Maybe a year now, maybe you'll make some good
Mm.
money. Good for you. Donate it, hopefully, to some good causes too, I pray. But the sustainable part on earth as we
Mm.
are shifting in consciousness is investing in heart coherence, heart resonance, and soul awareness. And the only
Mm.
way, again, to invest in that is to have a mirror
Mm.
that we recognize on a heart and soul level. And that mirror needs to have a heart and soul.
100%. Like, I'm so glad you brought this up. And thank you. I'm like frivolously taking notes because there's so much I want to speak to this. um, but I'll just share a few reflections to what you've just said. Like, first of all, obviously not surprised that there is 100% resonance and coherence between the two of us. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You know, we're on the same wavelength. So I agree with everything you've just said. And one of my coaches, and I love the way he puts it, he's like, use your divine intelligence, not this average intelligence out there. Like, yes, it has a place. And, you know, especially for people like us in entrepreneurship, where like you're often a one man or woman or person band, it can help automate some things. And like, you know, again, the way my business coach puts it, it's like a B-level employee. It's like, get them to help you with some admin or whatever, but don't use it for strategy. Don't use it to create content. Don't use it to be your freaking coach. Like, OMG. And this is where I think what you're trying to sort of, you know, really highlight around the importance of having a human mentor with a soul and a heart, because I hands down lay a lot of my success and resilience and ability to navigate this world to the mentors, the coaches, the yogis, the gurus, the people in my life. And I'm so, so lucky to have worked with and met so many incredible people, yourself included. And then I'll speak to someone else and they'll be like, oh, so, you know, like someone in my family really treats ChatGPT like their therapist. And I'm just like, you're playing a really dangerous game here, because it is just reflecting to you what you're saying and what's happening in the unconscious of the internet, which doesn't take a Einstein to figure out isn't that great. So yeah, I just wanted to say those couple things, and also to any, you know, people who are out there in our industry or whatever other industry, and they're like using it to generate content, whether it's video or image or copy, that is felt. That is read. It is so easy. I can instantly spot AI generated copy content, whatever. I don't know about you, but it's just like this, and it immediately makes me want to go away. And it could even be the same piece of text, but there's something about the underlying energy of what was created. You can just feel. And I think the more you develop a sadhana, a practice where you start to become more intuitive and sensitive to these subtle nuances, you can just feel that this come from a human, a living, breathing being, or was this generated by a computer? So that's my riff. I've got lots more to say on that, but that's sort of I'll leave it there.
It's a good book to open. Yeah. And
oh my God, don't get me started on books. Oh, okay. One more thing.
Go ahead.
I know we have people in our life who really embrace AI and they're way showers, and that's wonderful for them. But like, as a content creator myself, who has a podcast, who has a dream, I've got so many books in me that I know I will birth in this world. I write every single email, every single caption, every single video. Like, it all comes from me. And so I have really deep, profound respect and reverence for this work, because I know that it is, it's often like divinely inspired and channeled. It's like, what does this person need to hear? And it just comes through and it happens. And then I unfortunately see people use AI to generate this exact same books. People use AI to create books that they then sell on the internet to generate a quick buck. And it breaks my heart. Look, to each their own, you can fall on either side of the equation, but like, it just doesn't align with my value system. So yes, I could write a whole book about AI generated books.
That's exactly the point. What you just said, it breaks your heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because the heart finds no home in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The heart maybe identifies a mirrored experience through a creation that's technology born.
Mm.
But it will remain a mirror.
Mm.
It will not become a home for any heart. And circling back to what I said, there's one keyword that I want to point out for everyone, feeling the heart's longing for doing work that's truly purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on the experience that you can create for yourself and others.
Yeah.
On your time on earth. Because your time on earth, our time on earth, it is an experience. And whatever we intend to birth and create that nourishes experience is the true value of human existence on earth. And when it is mirrored and mirrored again through your conscious to AI, back to your consciousness into a book, it dilutes. The essence of heart dilutes. And some people don't feel it when they look. We feel it. You said you feel it when you look at AI content versus non-AI content, right? Many people out there will not see or feel that at all anymore at this stage already. In a year from now, definitely not, unless you tap into you being the only mirror for God's source, pure light, divine intelligence flowing through you. And so this comes with a fierce responsibility.
Yes.
And this goes back to the myth of it's hard to make money as a yoga teacher. It's hard to make money as a facilitator for healing. It can be. Times are transitioning. Stay and prevail on that path. Have faith.
Have faith.
Right?
Yeah.
Because a heart will blossom, and one more will blossom through your faith in your own relationship to God's source intelligence, and not your mirrored relationship through any AI support or any technological amplification of your voice. Your voice does not need that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, to everything you just said. And you said something really important, that you said that it can be hard to make money as a yoga teacher, as a healer, as a facilitator. It can also be really easy to make money as a healer, as a yoga teacher, as a facilitator. So it is the reality that you choose to live into. And this might rub some people the wrong way, so please take this with a grain of salt. But going back to what we were saying earlier, There is a reason for everything. So if things are hard for you right now, and June, I'm curious, I'm sure you can empathize with this as well. In my personal lived experience, entrepreneurship is an inside job. It is going to give you the challenges, the opportunities, the lessons, the struggles, the joys that you need to witness and experience in order to become a better version of yourself. So if it is hard for someone to make money in this field, it is simply a chapter in their life. But rather than pointing fingers and getting, again, it's where you're tuning that radio. Are you tuning it on, oh, it's so hard, blah, blah, blah. Or it's like, okay, well, what does this mean? How can I make this easy? What do I need to change, adapt? How do I pivot? What else? And so I just wanted to say that because it's so easy to live into that reality. But again, it's change your receiver dial. It's like, okay, how can it be easy?
Yeah, and the grain of salt part is also good because everything remains to be interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
A challenge or a gift.
Mm-hmm.
For the soul, it's just interesting. It's an experience.
Mm-hmm.
So to that, as you say, if there is a challenging chapter on the business side, on the making money side, interesting. How do I respond now?
Yeah. I love that. Everything's interesting.
Okay, no, let me practice a little more. Let me tune in a little more. Let me listen a little more. Right?
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for
your question of the myth really blew up into something.
It did.
But
wow.
that's I think it's a topic of this time, very essential and important to shine awareness on, as you did, as we did, and to make present and aware decisions. And when we don't have presence and awareness, practice a sadhana, come into your resonance, and then you'll know.
Exactly. I love it. You make it sound so easy because it is easy. It just takes intention. And I would love to just celebrate the fact that, we had the intention of coming here together, which we did. And I have one final question for you that I ask every single guest that's been on the podcast. And I am so curious to hear your answer because we covered so much goodness. And that is, if there's just one thing that resonated with the listener after this episode ends, what do you wish that one thing would be?
One thing that would resonate with the listener now, where we're at now. The first thing that comes to mind is the devotion to a practice for resiliency. Whenever you spoke the word resiliency, that's, I think, a very important moment in our conversation. And if I, send a prayer and a hopeful, sweet song to every heart here, resilience is born through that refinement of that inner dialogue that we spoke about.
Yeah.
Devotion to that refinement, right? So my hope really is that not just, this is a mental meal for people to digest, but the heart flame is really present here, responding to what we're talking about, because this is an invocation. It really is an initiation for your heart to step forth a little more.
Yes. As much as you wish, or as much as your heart wishes.
Even better.
That's it. I love that. Resilience is born through refinement of that inner dialogue. That is so powerfully said. That could be, one of those quotes that you put on the wall in the hotel.
Let's do it. I'll make a nice design.
Yes.
That's really beautiful. Yeah.
You are incredible, an incredible designer. If I do say so myself, not that I'm a bit biased, but as you say, it's also likely because there was very strong resonance. But your new chapter of your life is, helping people ignite that flame in their hearts. And so for someone who listened to our episode today, would love to connect with you, would love to work with you, learn more about you, where can they find you?
The fastest way is the Academy for the Soul. And that's just www.academyforthesoul.org. There you'll find free experiences of everything we spoke about. There's a free Ecstatic Angel Dance. There's free Sacred Breathwork. There's a free, beautiful meditation for your heart. We have a membership on there, and we have these facilitator trainings, of which one you've done. So that's the easiest way. Social media is also accessible. You can find me under jun.academy for the soul on Instagram, YouTube Academy for the Soul as well. I'm sure you're going to link all of this.
Yeah, I'll get you to send me all the links and I'll put it all in the show notes. Yeah, so Instagram, YouTube, anything else? Website, Instagram, YouTube.
That's the fastest way.
That's the fastest. Perfect.
And, you know, for those that really long to have deep support, there is one-on-one coaching, there is counseling, there is spiritual support from human heart to human heart, also on the website. So all you long for, if you long for something that we spoke about, that I get to offer, that our students, which now are also facilitators, get to offer, it's on the Academy for the Soul.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Jun. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for sharing your soul, your heart, your light, your wisdom. It's been an honor and a privilege, and I'm just so grateful that you are here. And may the insights that you shared today truly ignite the fire in someone's heart to take the next right step, whatever it is for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this episode was so wholesome. And there were a few nuggets that really stuck out for me that I just briefly wanted to share with you. And I think this last one, like, I wasn't joking when I was saying this could literally be like a poster printed on the wall about resilience is born through refinement of your inner dialogue. I could say this over and over again. Resilience is born through the refinement of your inner dialogue. My friends, as soon as you learn how to work with your inner dialogue, your mind, and you get that thing to be on your side, everything changes. And I love that that was Jun's one thing, biggest takeaway, probably mine as well. And like, really, there's just the one thing that you take from this whole episode, and just one action step that I would invite you to take is pick a practice, find a tool, find a formula, whatever it looks like, however long it looks, whoever it is from, but find something that starts to help you change that inner dialogue for yourself. And you know, it could even be something like, I love the example of Jun saying, you know, if you take a big challenge, and it doesn't even have to be a big one, but if you take a challenge at the beginning of the day, everything else becomes easy. And that is so cool. And, you know, like, obviously not everyone has to go as extremely into some deep Kundalini yoga practices, but, you know, it's funny how like our external world truly is a mirror to our internal reality, right? And like personally myself, like I'm a very organized, tidy person. Hello, efficiency made easy. And I also know that, you know, it's those little things like resetting the room, like making your bed, like putting things back where they belong, that really does also make a massive difference. And, you know, depending on where you are in your journey, if life feels really chaotic and overwhelming, it could just be those little things that help shift your perspective and your perception of reality. And two other things that came up for me that I just wanted to briefly kind of round out on in my little outro here is the importance of discernment. Discernment. Some people might not know what this word truly means, and it is just the ability to discern truth from falsehood. And I could go into a whole episode about this on its own, and I probably will one day. But for now, it's just, you know, with the age of AI, with what you're seeing in the news, on the platforms, different people, different opinions, left, right, and center. You know, there's a reason that there's a saying about there being, you know, two sides to every story and then what actually happened. And so it's more important now than ever for you to practice discernment, for you to know, like, and be able to tap into that inner wisdom, that inner knowing deep in your soul as to, is this on the side of truth or is this on the side of falsehood? And without, again, going for another hour on this, I'll leave it there, but it's just something for you to chew on, and we'll definitely come back to it at some point. And lastly, and very relevantly to a lot of what you're going to be hearing from me over the next couple of weeks, I just love the synchronicity of June bringing this up around the stories we tell ourselves, whether you're in, the healing, the yoga community industry, or you're a coach or an entrepreneur, or you're in corporate or whatever. Like, this story appeals to all of us because it is such a universally shared struggle around it's so hard to make money. And I would just really challenge the story, because it is a story we tell ourselves. It is a story that we have been conditioned to believe. It is a story that the society that we live in feeds us. And yet, fact is that there are more than enough resources on planet Earth for everyone to have a good life. So this idea of scarcity and isolation is truly a false paradigm. And this is just a little taster of what's to come, because my personal financial coach and mentor, Kate Northrup, is about to open doors to her signature flagship program, Relaxed Money, in just a few short weeks. And if you've been kind of around my neck of the woods for a little while, you probably would have heard me talk about it last year. I joined 2 years ago. I'm still in, and I'm going to continue being in that community because it has changed my life. And I think that's played an integral role in my ability to be able to see through these stories and to start to rewrite them for myself, and to rewire those beliefs and those limiting thought patterns, behaviors that then self-sabotage my results. So again, much more to come on that. But if that started to tickle your fancy today, then buckle up. You are definitely in for a wild ride over the next couple of weeks. And speaking of which, you'll hear me talk about it in just a moment, but make sure you sign up to Kate's workshop. It is going to be awesome. I'm going to be waking up very early just to be there live, which I do every year. And it is so, so worth it. So this is it, my friends. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I hope that you have now got some really clear, tangible action steps around how you can also really quickly create resonance in your system and rewire your brain to be on your team. Because, hey, when our inner world is supportive of our desires, they are much easier and much more fun to achieve. That's all from me. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful week. Bye for now. I would love to invite you to a free 3-day workshop that my financial coach and mentor, Kate Northrup, is hosting. It is called Good with Money, and it is the place where you will get to upgrade your money patterns, create rock solid systems that work for you, and create the kind of financial support that lets income feel steady, spacious, and sustainable without having to work harder. So in a nutshell, Good with Money is for high performers and high capacity humans who are ready to expand without increasing pressure. They're ready to build their financial infrastructure that actually supports their ambition. And they are ready to make bigger decisions without second guessing themselves. Now, if you are someone who feels like this is calling you and you want to turn your income into something that feels steady rather than fragile, and you want to feel supported by your money instead of feeling like you're having to carry it all alone, then the Good with Money workshop is the place to be. I will be there, and I am going to be waking up in the wee hours of the morning here in New Zealand to be there live as well. So Good with Money is the place to be. If you want to join this free 3-day workshop, make sure you click the link in the show notes and sign up. I can't wait to see you either online in the Zoom room or on the replays, but hurry up because the replays are only up for a limited time. So without further ado, make sure you click the link just below in the show notes, and I'll see you there. Bye for now. The views and opinions expressed by a guest on Resonance are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of me, Viktoria Levenberg, Live in Health, or anyone working within the Live in Health brand. This space welcomes a diversity of ideas, experiences, and stories, and part of Resonance is learning to take what aligns and gently leaving the rest. Also, while I am a national board certified health and wellness coach and deeply passionate about well-being, this podcast is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. Resonance does not substitute personalized medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. Always seek guidance from qualified professionals for any physical, emotional, or mental health concerns.